If you are currently using a credit card, you're probably leaving points on the table. And there is something that the average everyday person does not know in regards of a secret strategy to increase your credit score while using your credit cards. Now, full disclaimer, sometimes my students takes weeks, if not months, for them to fully understand, implement, and start seeing a result using this strategy. I'm going to try to teach you this in the next 20 seconds. Banks make money on interest that they charge you while applying and using their credit cards and loans. The lower your credit score, the higher your interest rate will be. So from a logical standpoint, it would be bad business for everybody to have a high credit score, right? And keeping you ignorant of this information continues to benefit banks because they get to charge you more. Now, let's change that. You see, a big part of your credit score comes directly for the balances that you're keeping on your credit cards that are going to be reported on your credit report. And here's the big secret that I'm talking about. Balances that you're keeping on your credit cards truly matter only once per month, which is the day that your credit card statement cycle ends. Everyone who has a credit card has an opening date and a statement closing date. And if you are interested on seeing a massive credit score increase like the one I'm showing you in the screen, you need to pay attention to this next part. By the way, if you haven't already, make sure you save this video for later. To set up this strategy correctly, the first part is to find out when your credit card statement cycle actually closes. Now, there are different methods for you to be able to find out when your credit card statement cycle closes by, for example, looking at your statement online or just simply printing it out, calling the credit card company, etc. By the way, do not confuse your credit card statement closing date with your payment due date. Two completely separate things. The second step of this strategy is to calculate exactly how much 10% of your credit limit amount is. Say, for example, in my Discover credit card, if my credit limit is $1,000, 10% of $1,000 is $100. Now, if you've done correctly step number 1 and 2, it should bring you to step number 3, which is honestly the hardest one. So stick with me. Step number 3 is to make sure that your balance is below the amount that you came up with in step number 2, prior to your statement closing date. If you do this correctly and you have not done this previously, you should see a pretty good amount of points being added to your credit score. The reason why step number 3 is very difficult to most people is because if you're carrying very high balances and you can't afford to pay your balances down below that 10% golden rule that I just taught you, it might take you some time to actually achieve step number 3. Sometimes for people it takes months. Sometimes people have the money to be able to pay it back right away. Remember that I said that this takes my students weeks, if not months, to learn, implement, and start seeing the result. So if you still feel a little confused about the entire process, it's not your fault. If you would like to connect with me and get more help in regards of how to improve your credit, write the word help in the comments.